For centuries, the earliest chapters of Chinese civilization remain shrouded in the mists of legend. Tales of ancient kings and divine dynasties, passed down through generations, spoke of a golden age, a foundational era. Yet, for the longest time, these narratives felt more like myth than history, lacking the tangible proof that grounds even the grandest stories in reality. The Shang Dynasty, in particular, occupied this twilight realm. Described in later texts, its existence was debated, its true nature an enigma. Scholars pondered the veracity of accounts detailing its rise and fall, its powerful kings, intricate rituals, and a sophisticated Bronze Age culture. Without direct evidence, it remained a phantom empire, a whisper in the annals of time, a monumental gap in our understanding of China's deepest origins. Imagine a civilization rich in innovation and spiritual depth, almost entirely lost to collective memory. Its magnificent cities, once bustling with artisans and priests, lay silently buried. Its leaders, who wielded immense power, faded into folklore. Its innovations, including advanced metallurgy and complex social structures, were mere inferences. The sheer scale of its disappearance left a profound void, a challenge to historians and archaeologists alike. This forgotten legacy presented a perplexing paradox. How could such a pivotal dynasty, a crucial precursor to imperial China, vanish so completely from the tangible material record? How could the very bedrock of a continuous civilization be rendered so utterly elusive? The very notion seemed to defy the persistent nature of human endeavor and collective memory. It was as if the earth itself had swallowed an entire epoch, leaving behind only echoes. The absence of definitive archaeological finds meant that for millennia, the Shang Dynasty existed primarily as a powerful name, an ancestral shadow. Its compelling stories, though inherently dramatic, lacked the undeniable weight of empirical confirmation. It was a history yearning desperately to be uncovered, a silent testament to power and belief, awaiting its true voice. This vast, unspoken history, an empire whose true nature was once veiled in legend, waited patiently beneath the earth, poised for an astonishing rediscovery, ready to re-emerge from the dust of ages and speak its profound truth to the modern world. The earth, which had patiently guarded the secrets of the Shang Dynasty for millennia, now began to yield them, not through grand archaeological expeditions, but through the unassuming toil of everyday life. In the late 19th century, in the dusty fields surrounding Shaotuan village near Anyang in Henan province, farmers often unearthed strange artifacts while tilling their land. Among these were peculiar bones, sometimes remarkably preserved, often adorned with curious markings. They were dismissed as dragon bones, long revered components in traditional Chinese medicine, believed to possess powerful healing properties for a variety of ailments, from malaria to sword wounds. For generations, these so-called dragon bones were collected and sold to local apothecaries. The pharmacists, in turn, would grind them into a powder, their etched surfaces disappearing into a fine dust, unknowingly obliterating the most ancient written records of a profound civilization. This unwitting destruction continued for years, a testament to how easily invaluable historical evidence can be overlooked when its true nature is not yet understood. The cultural value of these bones was completely overshadowed by their perceived medicinal efficacy, a utilitarian purpose that paradoxically ensured their widespread collection while simultaneously threatening their existence as historical artifacts. However, destiny, or perhaps the sheer volume of these unearthed artifacts, intervened. In 1899, the scholar Wang Airong, a chancellor of the Imperial Academy, fell ill with malaria. His physician prescribed a remedy that included powdered dragon bone. Upon inspecting the raw material before it was ground, Wang, an expert in ancient bronzes and epigraphy, noticed distinct, intricate carvings that resembled archaic Chinese characters. His keen eye, trained in the nuances of ancient scripts, immediately recognized that these were not mere natural patterns or random scratches, but a sophisticated system of writing. This serendipitous discovery marked a pivotal moment. Wang Airong, alongside his friend Liu A, began acquiring as many of these inscribed bones as possible from local pharmacies, saving them from the grindstone. They meticulously studied the markings, slowly piecing together the fragments of a lost language. What had been humble dragon bones, sold for a pittance, were suddenly transformed into the key to unlocking China's mythical past, revealing the undeniable reality of the Shang Dynasty and providing the earliest tangible evidence of the Chinese written language. The dust of the past was finally ready to speak. The unearthed oracle bones, once dismissed as mere medicine, revealed a profound purpose. They were the direct conduits through which the Shang kings communicated with their ancestors and deities. This was not a casual endeavor, but an intricate, sacred ritual known as pyromancy, a cornerstone of early Chinese statecraft and spiritual life. The preparation of these divinatory tools was meticulous. First, suitable animal bones, primarily the shoulder blades of oxen, scapulae, and the undershells of tortoises, plastrons, were carefully selected. These raw materials were cleaned, scraped smooth, and polished to create a pristine surface ready for inscription. Skilled artisans then drilled rows of small oval-shaped hollows into the reverse side of the bone. These pits, often numbering in the tens or even hundreds, were strategically placed to ensure the bone would crack predictably when heat was applied. Each pit was a potential point of prophecy. The ritual itself was a solemn affair, often conducted by the king himself or by specialized diviners in his presence. A question, typically concerning matters of state, warfare, harvest, royal health, or ceremonial sacrifices, was posed to the ancestors. This question, along with the date and the diviner's name, was then meticulously carved onto the polished surface of the bone, often directly beside the prepared pits. With the question inscribed, the critical moment arrived. A heated bronze rod, glowing fiercely, was carefully pressed into the hollows on the reverse side of the bone. The intense heat caused the bone to crack, forming distinctive T-shaped fissures that radiated from the pits. The direction and nature of these cracks were then interpreted by the king or diviner, revealing the ancestral response, a yes or no, or a more nuanced prediction. This interpretation, along with the actual outcome of the event, was frequently added to the inscription, turning each bone into a detailed historical record. Through this sacred process, the mundane became divine, providing guidance and solidifying the king's celestial mandate, transforming bones into the very voice of an ancient empire. The raw materials, once merely animal remains, were elevated through ritual and craftsmanship. The choice of ox scapulae and tortoise plastrons was not accidental. These materials were culturally significant. Each step, from cleaning to polishing, was a prayer in action, ensuring the bone was a worthy vessel. The precisely drilled pits were crucial for controlling the path of the cracks. Shang society revolved around these divinations, affecting every aspect of their sophisticated culture. Kings sought guidance for military campaigns, ensuring victory or averting disaster. They consulted the bones for auspicious times to plant crops, securing bountiful harvests for their people. Even matters of royal health and ancestral worship were subject to the oracle's wisdom. The questions were specific, reflecting the immediate concerns of a developing empire. The bronze rod, intensely heated in a brazier, was the key instrument, a bridge between mortal and divine. The sound of the bone cracking must have been a hushed, significant sound in the ritual chamber. Each T-shaped fissure was then carefully scrutinized for its meaning. The outcome, whether favorable or unfavorable, was deemed a direct message from the ancestors. These bones, imbued with ancestral voices, legitimized the king's rule and shaped the Shang world. The cracks on the oracle bones were but one layer of their profound significance. Etched alongside these divinatory fissures were intricate carvings, characters that for centuries lay silent, a forgotten language from a lost empire. These were not mere doodles, but the earliest systematic form of Chinese writing, a complex and elegant script that would eventually unlock the profound secrets of the Shang Dynasty. The decipherment of these cryptic inscriptions was a monumental intellectual undertaking. When the dragon bones first appeared in the late 19th century, their strange markings were intelligible to even the most learned scholars. It was a painstaking process, akin to assembling a vast ancient puzzle without a discernible guide. Early pioneers like Wang Yirong and Liu Yi were among the first to recognize their true nature, bravely leading the charge into this unknown linguistic landscape. By meticulously comparing recurring symbols, analyzing their context within divinatory questions, and drawing parallels with later forms of Chinese characters, they slowly began to piece together lost meanings. What emerged from this rigorous, meticulous work was a vibrant window into the Shang world. The script, known as Oracle Bone Script or Jiagu Ven, comprised thousands of distinct characters. Many were pictographic, vividly representing objects like the sun, moon, mountains, and various animals. Others were ideographic, conveying abstract ideas, often combining simpler symbols to create nuanced meanings. A person with a mouth for speak, or a foot under a house for return. This early writing system was already remarkably sophisticated, capable of recording complex governmental decrees, detailed astronomical observations, critical military strategies, and even personal prayers. The innate elegance of the Shang script is striking. Despite being carved onto hard bone with pointed bronze styluses, the characters exhibit a fluid grace and balanced composition. They show a clear artistic intention, hinting at the foundational importance of writing in this ancient culture. This was more than just a means of record-keeping. It was a revered art form, a sacred act that transformed a king's urgent question into an enduring historical legacy. The profound discovery and subsequent decipherment of oracle bone script provided not only the verifiable existence of the Shang Dynasty, previously considered legendary, but also established the unbroken link in the evolution of Chinese writing. It demonstrated Chinese as a language with an unparalleled written history, stretching back over 3 millennia, a continuous tradition that profoundly shaped its philosophy, governance, and national identity, all beginning with these remarkable inscribed bones. The decipherment of oracle bone script unveiled not just a language, but the intricate machinery of Shang governance and profound beliefs. These bones served as tangible proof of the Shang king's unique and absolute authority, positioning them as the indispensable intermediaries between the human realm and the powerful world of ancestors and deities. This divine connection formed the bedrock of their power, the exclusive right to consult the cosmos on all matters, ensuring the empire's stability and prosperity. The Shang king was more than a political leader. He embodied the supreme shaman, the only individual capable of directly communicating with Di, the supreme deity, and venerated ancestors. Every meticulous ritual, preparation of plastron or scapula, and solemn act of pyromancy underscored this exclusive connection. Posing a crucial question through sacred bone and fire, then interpreting the resultant cracks, transformed the king's decisions into divine mandates, rendering them unchallengeable by any mortal subject or rival noble. This sacred monopoly on divine communication solidified the king's political legitimacy. When prophecies confirmed auspicious military campaigns, sanctioned vital agricultural strategies, approved a royal hunt, or named a successor, these were not just choices, but divine imperatives. Challenges to royal decrees were thus not merely political dissent, but profound sacrilege, directly defying the expressed will of the heavens. This powerful theocracy, where religious and political power converged in the monarch, established an absolute rule unlike any other in its comprehensive divine justification. The oracle bones provided continuous public demonstration of this divine sanction. Trained diviners and scribes meticulously recorded questions, cryptic answers, and outcomes, ensuring the king's pronouncements were documented and disseminated, reinforcing his divine right to rule across vast territories. This intricate interplay between spiritual ritual and absolute political power forged a highly centralized state. Here, the king's word, imbued with cosmic authority, became inviolable law, laying foundational principles for a model of kingship that would resonate throughout Chinese imperial history, establishing an enduring legacy of a ruler divinely appointed and inherently supreme for millennia. The profound authority derived by Shang kings from their oracle consultations was not merely symbolic. It was the very engine of their statecraft, permeating every significant decision that shaped their realm and society. Far from abstract pronouncements, the cracks on bone and plastron provided direct, actionable guidance on matters of immense practical importance. Military campaigns, for instance, were never undertaken lightly. Before dispatching armies to quell rebellious tribes or expand territories, diviners would consult the ancestors regarding auspicious dates, the success of the expedition, and even the best generals to lead the charge. A positive omen could embolden an entire army, transforming a risky venture into a divinely sanctioned mission. Agriculture, the bedrock of any ancient civilization, also fell under the oracle's sway. Questions concerning rainfall, harvest yields, and the timing of planting or irrigation were routinely posed, reflecting the Shang people's deep reliance on the land and their belief that ancestral spirits influenced natural phenomena. Questions concerning rainfall, harvest yields, and the timing of planting or irrigation were routinely posed, reflecting the Shang people's deep reliance on the land and their belief that ancestral spirits influenced natural phenomena. These divinations aimed to mitigate risks, ensure bountiful harvests, and prevent famine, directly impacting the welfare of the populace and the stability of the state. Even royal hunts, seemingly leisure activities, were imbued with ritualistic significance and subject to prophetic inquiry. These hunts were not only displays of royal power and martial skill, but also crucial for acquiring resources and reaffirming the king's mastery over the natural world. Oracles would be consulted regarding hunting grounds, the number of animals to be caught, and the safety of the king and his retinue, intertwining practicality with cosmic approval. Oracles would be consulted regarding hunting grounds, the number of animals to be caught, and the safety of the king and his retinue, intertwining practicality with cosmic approval. Diplomatic relations and the management of vassal states also relied heavily on oracle bone consultations. Kings sought guidance on forging alliances, receiving tribute, or responding to challenges from neighboring polities. These divinations helped to navigate complex political landscapes, secure advantageous marriages, and maintain peace or prepare for war, ensuring the longevity and influence of the Shang Empire. The meticulous recording of these divinations, including the question, the interpretation, and often the actual outcome, transformed the oracle bones into an invaluable administrative archive. These detailed records provided historical precedent, allowing future kings and their courts to review past decisions and their consequences, thereby informing ongoing governance. Thus, the oracle bones were not just instruments of prophecy, but foundational documents for systematic statecraft, integrating divine will with human endeavor, shaping the daily realities of Shang society, and establishing a sophisticated administrative apparatus guided by cosmic decree. While the Shang kings primarily utilized oracle bones as a means of divine communication and state governance, the very act of meticulously inscribing questions, prognostications, and often the actual outcomes on these ancient artifacts inadvertently created something far more profound: the earliest comprehensive historical archives of China. Unlike later, consciously compiled histories, These bone inscriptions were immediate, raw records of events as they unfolded, reflecting the pressing concerns of the Shang court and society, unburdened by later editorializing. Each plastron or scapula, cracked by heat and etched with precise characters, became a direct chronicle of its time. Through them, we learn not only of major military campaigns, the names of vanquished foes, or the successful harvests, but also intimate details of royal life, a king's toothache, the birth of a royal heir, or even anxieties over dreams and sacrifices. These records capture the specific days, the names of diviners, and the individuals involved, lending an unparalleled specificity to events that would otherwise be lost to time, preserving the human element of their grand narratives. This meticulous record-keeping, initially intended to verify the efficacy of the divination process itself, to see if the prophecy came true, transformed into an unparalleled window into the religious, political, economic, and social fabric of the Shang Dynasty.
Through these dragon bones, we reconstruct genealogies of kings, understand the hierarchical structure of the state, trace the evolution of early Chinese writing, and even discern the prevailing cosmological beliefs that shaped their worldview and their interactions with the divine. The oracle bones are thus not merely religious relics. They are primary historical documents, offering tangible evidence of a sophisticated civilization that predates many textual accounts. They validate the existence of the Shang Dynasty, once thought legendary, and provide the foundational layer for China's enduring tradition of historical record-keeping. The practice of meticulously documenting inquiries and their resolutions laid the groundwork for future generations of historians who would build upon this nascent impulse to record, preserve, and interpret the past, ensuring that the whispers of ancient foresight echoed into an unbroken historical narrative that continues to define Chinese identity today. They are the initial cracks that opened a vast vista into China's ancient soul and mind.
While the oracle bones provided invaluable historical archives, their primary purpose lay deeper, interwoven with the spiritual and cosmological beliefs that defined the Shang Dynasty's worldview. For the Shang elites, the world was not simply a realm of human affairs, but a complex tapestry of interacting divine and ancestral powers. The king, known as the Son of Heaven, was the supreme intermediary between the human and spirit realms, a pivotal figure whose connection to the high deity Di and the royal ancestors was paramount. It was through his diviners, acting on his behalf, that the will of these powerful entities could be discerned and appeased. Every crack on a heated bone was thus more than a simple answer. It was a sacred revelation, a direct utterance from the ancestors or Di, guiding the state and affirming the king's divine right to rule. The universe, in their eyes, operated on a principle of cosmic harmony, easily disrupted by improper actions or neglected rituals. Floods, droughts, military defeats, or even royal illnesses were often interpreted as signs of divine displeasure, necessitating urgent divination to ascertain the cause and prescribe the correct ritualistic remedy. This worldview fostered an acute sense of ritualistic responsibility among the ruling class.
Their governance was inexorably linked to their ability to maintain favor with the divine. The oracle bones therefore became the central tool for maintaining this cosmic equilibrium, allowing the Shang to navigate a world teeming with potent spiritual forces. They sought guidance on everything from the auspiciousness of a day for sacrifice to the success of a military campaign or the implications of a bad omen. This constant consultation created a feedback loop, reinforcing the king's authority and the diviner's importance within the court. The quest for divine insight profoundly shaped their understanding of power, legitimacy, and their place within the grand cosmic order. It was a civilization built upon the whispers of the unseen, where the future was literally carved onto the bones of the past, shaping an enduring legacy of spiritual governance that would echo through millennia of Chinese imperial rule. The whispers from the cracked bones of the Shang Dynasty did not fade with the fall of their empire. Instead, they echoed through subsequent millennia, profoundly shaping the trajectory of Chinese civilization. The practices surrounding oracle bone divination laid foundational stones for several enduring aspects of Chinese culture. Perhaps most significantly, the meticulous recording of divinatory questions and outcomes established an unbroken tradition of written history. Unlike many other ancient civilizations, which relied on epic poems or oral traditions, the Shang set a precedent for documenting actual governmental decisions and events, a practice that evolved into the vast, official historical chronicles that would characterize imperial China for millennia. Furthermore, the very act of inscribing these characters onto hard surfaces contributed to the early development of Chinese calligraphy. The elegant, structured forms of the oracle bone script, though pictographic and ideographic, displayed an intrinsic aesthetic quality. This nascent appreciation for the visual art of writing would blossom into one of China's highest art forms, where the brushstroke itself conveyed philosophical depth and personal expression. The transition from bone to bamboo, silk, and eventually paper saw this calligraphic tradition refine and diversify, always rooted in the ancient reverence for the written word as a conduit of power and meaning. Philosophically, the oracle bones underscored a worldview where human actions were intimately connected to cosmic forces and ancestral will. This concept of a mandate of heaven, though explicitly articulated by the Zhou dynasty that followed, clearly has its antecedents in the Shang kings' divine authority derived from their ability to consult Dai and the ancestors. The quest for cosmic harmony, the importance of ritual, and the ruler's responsibility to maintain favor with unseen powers became the central tenets of Chinese political and ethical thought, influencing Confucianism and Taoism. Thus, the seemingly simple cracks on ancient bones were not merely ephemeral prophecies. They were the first enduring records, the nascent art of a written language, and the philosophical bedrock of a civilization. They carved not just questions, but the very essence of Chinese identity, a legacy that continues to resonate, inviting us to ponder the profound ways in which the past continually shapes our present and future.